Hey, hello, friends. Welcome. It is time for another one of our Slant Alpha adventures as we go live from Studio 5 just outside of Ocean City, Maryland. How are you, friends? Good to see you again. Missed you last Friday with the Independence Day holiday. Hope that everyone had a safe one and that any travels that you did over the weekend were safe and that everybody was, as I always like to say, happy, healthy, and safe in all of your travels and adventures. And happy Independence Day to those of you here in the States. We are here in Galesburg, Illinois. We've got a really special one coming up this Saturday. We've got the Virtual USA Flying Club's third annual Airshow, which will be taking place right here at Galesburg, Illinois. And we are doing a little bit of practice tonight. This is the only night that I've had to practice the routine that I'm going to fly in that number 3 slot, third performance of the show on Saturday. Now, Saturday the show starts at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu Time. The broadcast happening over on our very good friend Jeffrey B's channel, twitch.tv/Jeffrey B. And I over-enunciate it like that because he spells it a little uniquely, Jeffory, and then B as in Bravo. Twitch.tv/Jeffrey B. He's going to have the main broadcast, and he's going to do it up nice. He's going to do a nice professional production as he has the first 2 years, and the second one was better than the first, and the third is only going to be better and better and better. So we're looking forward to a really, really good show. Matter of fact, that's the stream I would recommend that you tune into on Saturday starting at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Now, on this stream, you will see in-cockpit footage of the third performance of the day, and I am only doing the solo performances here. Last year I did the solo performance, and then I was part of a four-ship formation flight later on in the show. Today, this year we're only doing the solo performance in that third slot. I will tell you that this is the Corsair, the FG-1D Corsair, which is essentially a variant of the Vought F4U Corsair from World War II. One of the variants that my grandfather flew. Matter of fact, this is one of the variants that he did most of his training in. Then he went on to fly Hellcats and Wildcats for the U.S. Navy in World War II in the Atlantic. And so this is one that he did most of his training in for the U.S. Navy and up in the Cape May, New Jersey area. But so MilViz / Blackbird. I guess MilViz is now kind of the brand for their more serious simulations. Blackbird, more of the brand for their, fun simulations. So Blackbird's Corsair just got a very timely update yesterday, and I downloaded it and installed it this evening, and was doing just a little bit of testing in it. Of course, I delayed the stream start from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We were having some work done at the house here today, and it was a very hot and humid day in the mid-Atlantic, and it got really warm outside. Then it got really, really warm in the house because the contractors were in and out. So the house was still quite steamy at 6 p.m., and I was like, well, let's delay the stream start from 7 to 8 just to allow it that extra hour for the air conditioning to catch up and cool off. And so everything's good. It was just a little steamy, and the air conditioning's now finally kind of caught up. So thanks for the extra patience for those of you who were waiting for the stream to start at 7. Hopefully you saw the messages go out letting you guys know that I was going to be doing a 1 hour delayed start this evening. But anyway, so starting at 7, I was just getting ready to. I wrapped up dinner and a little bit of time with the wifey. Came back here and started. I wanted to install that update to the Corsair and do 1 or 2 test runs in it just to see how the update performed and make sure that it was still, the same start sequence and all that stuff. Make sure that my custom livery was not overwritten, and it was. So I had to go dig up the custom livery that Mr. Downwind Sim had made for us and reinstall that, and you can see that reinstallation has worked fine. And thank you, Downwind Sim, for this beautiful livery that we did for last year's show. Matter of fact, this became part of last year's intro video to Flight Sim Expo out in Las Vegas, if you guys remember that. Anyway, so the update is not good news. I'm sure that what the update has done is make the flight model more realistic. However, what it has done is completely changed the dynamic of this routine. I'm going to have to relearn it. I was just doing a couple of run-throughs of the routine And they did not go so well, to put it mildly. So I'm going to have to kind of reevaluate my turn-in points and my my safety altitudes and all that stuff. So we are going to kind of relearn this routine from scratch tonight, and I hope that by the end of, by about 3 hours from now, I will feel comfortable performing this thing on Saturday. But right now, I am not feeling very good at all. Updates need updates. This is the story of flights, and yeah, well, I think what they did with this one is they made it more realistic. However, the more realistic flight model is working to my detriment, since I was kind of doing a very precision routine based on the way it handled last year. So, again, we're going to have to kind of start over and learn it again. But we shall see how it goes. We do have some friends to say hi to in the chat. Some folks that have stopped by the stream already so far. Kitty Monster is here. ELW is here. Who else stopped in? My Tech Review, I saw you stop in. Heisenberg is here as well. Kenny says, I have faith. Well, we will see how well or poorly that faith is placed in just a moment. Let's go ahead and hop into the cockpit here, guys. We're going to start by turning this prop over twice. And if you don't do that, it won't start properly. I've just found that out as I was messing around with it earlier. So there's once. And there is twice. 3 times a lady. What do I want to do? I want the parking brakes on, throttle all the levers down. Mag switch can come down. Gear lever can come down. These are things that got left in the on position when I crashed.
Mike.
Jet Pilot Cinnamon is here. All right, so we got the prop spun around. Let's go set the fuel tank into reserves. The prop and mix can go full forward, throttle to about 10%. Magnetos will go left, right, and both. Let's get battery and fuel pump on. Radio master can come off. Battery and fuel pump on, and primer on. We'll do a 5 count there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Primer can come off. We'll engage the starter. As it kicks over, the starter disengages. We'll regard the starter. Fuel pump can come off. And there we go. Oh, one thing I can do is go to the loadout, and shocks will remain. Let's toggle the gun sight visibility. Okay, good. We want to idle it at about 1,000. So I'll set the manifold to about 12. Where's the RPM gauge? I don't even remember what the gauges are on this thing. So there's the manifold pressure. Oh, RPM gauge is not even showing because we need to go ahead and get the instruments and radio master on. Now we should see, okay, and now we should see right about 1,000 there. Let's go ahead and get all the cooling flaps open. So forward, and forward. See, the engine cowl flaps will come up. And then we gotta go ahead and get we gotta spread our wings. Spread our wings and fly, friends. Alright, want to relock that. And, ideally you'd let it warm up for a bit. I don't think it's picky about that in terms of modeling any engine problems here. We'll go ahead and set our directional driver. We're just barely to the right of a 030 right now. And then I'm going to set the altimeter. I'm going to set the altimeter to QFE, meaning I'm going to set it to what zeroes it out, even though the field elevation here is 700 and some odd feet. Just for the purposes of knowing where my reference points are, I'm going to set it to 0. My aim is to do these passes at 50 feet or lower. I think I was a little bit too high last year. When I watched my routine back from Jeffrey's stream, I was like, I could get a little closer to the pavement. But I had forgotten to do this, and it was eyeballing it off of the 700 and some odd change, and didn't work out as well. But this year we're going to try to remember to set it to QFE, and I think we are good to go. Anything else? Okay. We'll set flaps, close the canopy, and close the cooling flaps when we get out to the runway. Now, I am not connected to VATSIM. Number one, because we are approved by VAT USA to have this airspace not really set aside, because I think JPC can attest we are going to have to let traffic in and out if anyone chooses to come. We're going to have to make space for them in between performances. So we're not really closing the airspace, but we do have permission from VAT USA to kind of use it in a special use type format. But today we don't have that permission. And today, since I'm probably going to be crashing this thing more than once and doing multiple high-speed passes and such, it wouldn't really work on a general VATSIM traffic situation without that permission, without that monitor, you know, without coordination with the controllers. So we're gonna do this offline for this evening. Yeah, we're taxiing out. We're gonna assume, and the wind was favoring 2-1 last year. That seems to be the case most of the time here. We're going to assume that's going to be the case on Saturday. And if we have to flip things around, we'll flip things around. Or maybe we'll just take off in the opposite direction and turn, and we'll still do the routine based on a first pass being in the runway 3 direction. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For right now, we're just going to taxi out, depart on runway 21. Our first pass will be on the in the northeastbound direction. Alright, getting up to the line here. Close those cowls, flaps 20. And we'll get our canopy closed here. Come on, where's canopy? Canopy switch. Canopy lever, there we are. Okay. No traffic, obviously, because there just isn't any. Get nice and lined up. Excuse me, Mr. Follow you car. I'm not following you down the runway. Oof, set the tail down kind of hard there. Alright, manifold 50. And away we go. Now this thing does need a pretty good kick to the right when the tail comes up, so I gotta be ready for that. There it is. And then I gotta remember not to overdo it, because it will then start to overcorrect. Yeah, here we go, kind of skidding sideways down the runway. It seems like it wants to lift off about 90 knots, so we'll respect that. Gear coming up. Gear coming up, flaps coming up. Just got enough power. We don't really have to worry too much about gear and flaps. I'm going to pull the RPMs back to 25 and the throttle just even with it. So there we go. So manifold's about 48. And then I'm going to climb it out at about 120. And then when we get to 2,000, that'll be our cue to flip it and start our first pass. Alright. Throttle out. Flip it over. Yeah, kind of mushy. It didn't go as hard as it did last time when I did that. We got to put a nice firm pull on the elevator here as we ease the throttle back in. Okay, we're a little offline. Add some down trim. This is going to be just a high-speed pass. It's also kind of going to be where we just set our trim a little bit here. Watching that altimeter, bringing it down right down to about 50 feet, maybe even less. We'll get a nice neutral trim. This is almost a test pass, but we'll make it look good. It's about 20 feet. Yeah, so that's where we want to be. That's where we want to be. Altimeter showing 20 feet. Right over show center. A little gentle nudge up on the nose. Surpassing 300 knots there on the pass. Climb it out at 250 now. Let it fly up to about 2,000. Right about out to this lake here, okay. Okay, throttle coming out. Alright, it's responsive a little bit more now that we got some airspeed over the control surfaces. Oh boy, we got to put a lot of pull in. Whew, okay, yeah, you can see it kind of buffeting. I'm going to have to remember that pulling that hard on that high speed, you know, you are going to end up in a buffet stall there. So I got to just remember that. Maybe we got to do those pulls at 25 rather than 2,000 this time. Okay, this is going to be our double aileron roll. So there's our 300 knots. Get it right down to about 20. Right over the fence. Little bit of pop, just a tiny bit of nose up, and we got to push forward as the nose comes through inverted in order to not put this thing in the ground. Over-rotated it last year, so we want to end up at wings level. I'm going to have to put a little bit of rudder in there to keep that line as we go down. Notice it came offline with that adverse yaw, so we'll have to control that this next time. All right, let's take it to 2,000. Let's see how that does. I feel like I'm a little bit right of line, so I'm going to have to probably come around a little bit off to correct that. See where we are in relation to that farm. Okay, throttle coming back in. Okay, we're not as far offline as I thought. Okay, this is going to be our inverted pass. And I just got to remember, first of all, I got to start it online. And then secondly, I got to just remember, it's almost like you got to drive it backwards here. And then bring it nice down. Yeah, I'm a little bit off. I'm very off center line here. And I'm not going down as low as I really wanted to there. We'll try it. We'll as we do it tonight, we'll take it lower and lower each pass as I remember how this works. Alright, what's next? The vertical loop is the next one. So 2,000, here's our kick. I didn't quite go so far out this time. Let's let it go a little bit farther out. Okay, now let's pull. Yeah, it's buffeting. I gotta watch that. Alright, not too far offline, that's not bad. Now we gotta be ready to move the view on this. This is a visual reference maneuver here. Let's bring it in nice and low at 20 feet. Alright, not too bad. Alright, little pop, show center. Now let's turn the view over sideways. As we come through the top of the loop, throttle comes out. Okay, this is where we got to spot it up top here. We're very offline here. Alright, but keep enough pull in that the thing's going to complete the loop. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, I forgot to recenter the view. That was a little perilous there. Alright, we got some work to do on this, guys. We got some work to do. What's the next one? So the next one is what they call the spin and tumble. Take this up to yeah, it's just sloppy. It's sloppy. We'll get it tuned in. I got to remember how to correct lines on these maneuvers. You know what I mean? Like when I spot that loop mid-turn and see that I'm offline, I got to remember which way to correct. Alright, let's bring it down to 20 feet. A little bit of down trim here. Bring it down to 20. Right over the approach lighting. Okay, didn't really get Didn't really get the didn't really get the nice clean descent. This is basically a power on stall. This is what I call the spin and tumble. Now we're doing the tumble part. Okay, and I forget what side I need to come out on. That's the problem. I need to come out on the. I need to come out on the 3 side heading toward 2-1. So that was really sloppy as well. Okay, well, we survived. We got just the carrier brake at this point. Yeah, I've got a card, Red Baron. It's over on my other monitor, but this is literally the first full run through that I've done on it in a year. So. Came up just a little bit offline, but not too bad. So this is going to be just the carrier brake. Nice 300 knot, 20-foot approach. All right, power out. Pop it to 1,000. Level it, and brake. Picking up altitude. Let's get that back under control. Yeah, I picked up 500 feet in that turn. I gotta watch that better. Alright, there's our downwind. Yeah, look at that extra altitude. And then basically, with the power all the way out still, we're going to drop the gear and flaps. And a curved approach right around the lake here. Looking to be about 700 feet over this lake. So the flaps out. Aim to come in about, 80's too slow. Aim to come in about 85. Would have liked to get off that taxiway right before the crossing runway, but we can turn onto the crossing runway if we need to. Alright, once we're clear, flaps in, valves open, canopy open. Alright, well, you guys got to see the first successful run through. Sloppy, but successful. You didn't see the 2 crashes that happened before the stream went live. But yeah, I do think they've made the flight model probably, well, they've made it mushier, which is probably more realistic. But I'm just going to have to remember that. I'm going to need to be a little more assertive on the controls. And again, kind of adding a little bit of safety margin, doing these inverted course reversals at 2500 rather than 2000. Now, I did not see, I don't know if JPC, I don't know if you were paying attention, at the top of the spin and tumble, I don't know what my altitude was. And we got a 5,000 foot top of the box. And I know you said if we exceed it by a little tiny bit, very, very briefly, I know that wasn't a big deal. So that's probably what I did. I probably got close to it. Okay, not too bad. We survived anyway. I mean, it was sloppy. Like I said, we were offline every time. I don't know. I don't think that the plane model's engine damage. I know I'm being pretty abusive to this engine. I know that when I practiced this, I did a practice stream for the show last year, and I did lose the engine on like my 4th or 5th pass on the 4th or so attempt. So I don't know if that was just I had just run out of fuel in that case, or if I was just being too abusive and it just let go at that point, or what was going on there. So I'll be ready for that. When that happened, I did a beautiful dead stick landing, and it was the best landing of the stream. By the way, landing stats. So we're not going to do the prediction game tonight because my landings are going to be all over the place, I'm sure. Set it down nice and gently. I was pretty happy with that. Now, this thing's meant to be set on a carrier. You really don't want to finesse the landing on these things. You want to get it down firm and catch the wire. But so yeah, Red Baron, the FG-1D, and I started to say this at the beginning of the stream, and I think I sidetracked myself. It is a variant of the F4U Vought Corsair. The only difference was that this one was made by Goodyear rather than by Vought. That's the only difference, and that's what the G is, in fact, stands for, is Goodyear. And this was just a model that it was World War II, mass production. Get as many companies making these things as possible. You need as many as you can get. And so multiple different companies were making the same plane to the same spec. And the Blackbird company, again an offshoot of MilViz, just happened to have access to an FG-1D as their model, so that's what they used to to make all their measurements and probably some of their texture references and such. And so when they put this out, they put it out as an FG-1D rather than an F4U. I assume there are probably some cosmetic differences between them, but the idea is it's the same aircraft. Anyway. Alright, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's see if I can get it consistently lower to the ground. And just get those lines a little more consistent. And part of it is on the fly out. On the fly out, I got to be better at watching to make sure that I'm staying in a straight line. I can use the mag compass here. It looks like the reference shoot on the mag compass doesn't work anymore. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong there. Alright, well, let's see if we can do run through number 2 and see if we can clean it up. You guys are going to see a crash tonight, at least one. Air Brad stopped in. Iowa Scotsman is here as well. Red Baron Flies, hello. I know we've been talking to you a little bit, but oh, hello officially. Alright, so first of all, 48 and 25. Let's just go with that as our power spec. When that tail comes up, I do need to kick right. Then I got to make sure I don't... see, I'm over-kicking the right. And then the whole thing just becomes very, very sensitive to overcorrection on the rest of the roll here. $90. Gear up, flaps up. And 25. Climb it at 120. Slightly left of the 3. Slightly left of the 2-1, really. Throttle out. Flip her over. Let her fall just a little. Throttle comes back in. Okay, line's much better this time. This is just our trim pass here. We're down right to about 20 feet. Could have gotten a little lower there. And we're just barely left of the 3. Highway comes just to the wing root. The lake comes just to the left of the cow. $2,500. Bring it straight through, straight through. Our line. Oh, we're right on it. Good gracious. Perfect. Alright, this is our double aileron roll. We'll start it nice and aligned this time. That'll be a nice change. Bring it down right to about 20. Early on the line this time. Early on the runway. A little bit of a pop. Start gaining altitude ever so slightly. Let's make sure we clear the fence. Right there by the ambient blocks, we'll put in just a little pop, and then now, like I said, still wound up right of line there, right of line. Put in a little left rudder to counter that, and didn't really help us. Left roll, and we wound up right of line. Interesting. Okay, we do need to kind of turn a little bit right here. I feel like this little red patch is what we aim for. If I line up this farm and this red patch, I think we'll be okay. $500. And okay, now we're not quite online there. What is this? This is the inverted pass, right? Popped it a bit early. Okay, let's drive it away. Drive it away from where we need to drive it. The line's better this time. Whoa, let's watch the treetops. Push it away from where we need to be. Overall a little bit better. Not very consistent with the vertical. Kind of up and down a little bit. Again, that's why we practice. Alright, let's see, where are we? Highway's just to the right of the wing route. Yeah, we're a little offline here. We'll get that sorted out. Inverted pass, and then a loop. Yeah, Papa Charlie, yeah, you probably didn't want to have a big meal here. Way off. Way off. We kind of had the feeling we were coming into that one. Back online. Okay. At least we're starting it from good alignment. Down to that 20 feet. Let's show center. Ready? Pop. Okay, throttle comes out. Up top we go. Let it come back over to the line, and then I gotta remember to bring the view back down as we pull through the loop here. Way off, way off. I gotta figure out how to fix that. It's happened every time, and I gotta figure out how to fix it. So this maneuver starts in the 3 direction. This is the hardest part, is remembering which direction to come out of this on. Okay, there's that red spot. Let's pull straight through it. And that farm. We should be good on the alignment this time then. Yeah, not bad. Bring her down, keep bringing her down, up, overshot. Alright, there's show center, up we go. Then she starts to fall. Throttle comes out. And we need to come out on the 2-1 side. So I do need to bring it around the rest of the way here. And there we go. Alright, bring it over toward the highway a little bit. Okay, throttle out, pop it. This time we'll try to keep it 1,000 in the turn. 6, level it, and brake. It was better. I got 300 feet of extra altitude there. Just feel downwind. Okay, drop gear. Oh, there's that little lake. That'll be 700 feet over that lake. Okay, there we go. And then right at 80. Tell you what, she handles a lot better on landing than she used to. I'm going to try and get off by this first taxiway. This time I didn't get in on the brakes hard enough, but I am going to try and get off by that first taxiway. Alright, 2 successful run-throughs, but still very sloppy in the alignment. So I have to figure out how to correct that loop. Flaps can come in. Engine cowlings. Canopy. Well, we've done 2 run-throughs, and we're just basically an hour into the stream. Take a quick break out of the cockpit, a little leg stretch. A little more intense flying than I usually do for you. leg stretch and liquid recycling, and then we'll come back and we'll do a couple more. . Alright, not too bad, not too bad. Like I said, you guys were fortunate or unfortunate not to see the couple of run-throughs that I did right before the stream went live. I didn't wingtip strike the fence, did I? Oh, no, plenty of room. Alright, well, let's go through the entire shutdown. Just for the practice. Wings folded and locked, cooling flaps closed. Radio master. Instruments. Throttle can come all the way down. Mixer cut off. Prop lever can come down. The magnetos. The fuel selector. And the battery. Alright. Parking brake is indeed still on. I think it closed the canopy when I shut the battery off. We'll go ahead and reopen the canopy for Airshow purposes, static display purposes. Candy Monsters had an says go easy on it. Alright, very good, man. I will do my best not to crash her too many times after you're gone. And we'll take a quick break out of the cockpit for a little liquid recycling action and a stretch break, and then we'll come back and we'll do a couple more run-throughs of our routine. It is the prep show. Oh, by the way, for those of you curious, I guess, like I said, in this aircraft, you're really not supposed to be finessing it onto the runway, but... but anyway, yeah, so it is our run-through of the virtual USA Flying Club Airshow demonstration in the FG-1D Corsair from Blackbird, subsidiary of MilViz, and we'll get back to it, do a couple more practices, try and get these little alignment issues cleaned up as we come back, guys. Sit tight, lots of flying left to do for you. See you in a few. Okie doke, back with you. We're about to get walloped down here at Wallops, north of Wallops Island. Hopefully the stream will stay on. This is where I am in the real world. Obviously, this is not where we are in the sim. But, and I am not exactly at the airport. I'm a little north and west of it. Kind of right here where it says street pattern. But yeah, we're getting a pretty good line of storms coming through right now. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that everything stays stable with the stream and go do at least one or two more run-throughs of the airshow routine. Alright, back we go into the aircraft. And again, it is the FG-1D Corsair from Blackbird, offshoot of MilViz. And we're practicing for Saturday's Virtual USA Flying Club Airshow. I guess I should put the live stream information into the chat here. Twitch.tv/Jeff4EB. Again, he spells his first name a little bit unusually. But twitch.tv/Jeff4EB. He's going to be the master of ceremonies for the show starting this Saturday, 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 17, no, let me try that again. Yeah, 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu Time. Then Smashy says, nice preview, thank you, quite enjoyable. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. We'll do another couple run-throughs and try and get it just a tiny bit more cleaned up and a little bit more consistent on the alignment. But I appreciate that, and hopefully it'll be a good show on Saturday. Again, I'll be the third performer, but really you want to watch it on that Jeffrey B channel. You'll be able to see, and he's doing full on with announcemements and bios of the performers and a little intro for each new one that comes on, and a little bit of banter and patter in between. He's done a really nice job with this broadcast the last couple of years, and just adding more and more to it, getting it more and more professional. Different camera angles and such, and they chose the right host. Let's put it to you that way. Will I be streaming my run? Yes, you will be able to see the in-cockpit video of my performance here on my stream, and then you'll be able to see the production on Jeffrey B's. So that'll be Saturday. Both will be starting at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu Time. Since I am the third performance, I'm going to start my live stream right at the same time as the broadcast does, and then I'm going to shut mine down, and we'll shoot the raid over to Jeffrey B for the rest of the show. So I'm only going to be streaming that one performance. Last year, if you'll recall, I did two performances. I did the solo run fairly early, and then at the end of that first half, I was part of a 4-ship formation flight. But I'm only doing the solo performance this year. So, Heisenberg says, thanks to you and Moose for hosting karaoke up in Providence. Yeah, it was tremendous amount of fun. Oh no. Says, by the time I worked up the courage to sing, I had pretty much lost my voice from singing along with everyone else. Yeah, indeed. I have an edited down video of that's about 25 minutes long, but there's one guy that I can't remember who he is. If you can remember who the blonde guy with the goatee was that was sitting up onto the screen by the door, I really would appreciate it. Even if you only can remember his first name. And by the way, if you, who are that person, are lurking in the stream today, I certainly appreciate you reaching out and letting me know, because I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you're somebody that's a little bit newer to the channel, and I can't remember who you are. Couldn't remember your name, and I want to identify you in the video. So if you are that person, please reach out and let me know. Otherwise, I will do my best. But yeah, it was a tremendous amount of fun. It basically became a 3-hour, almost entire room sing-along, except for there were a handful of songs that we all kind of just hushed and let the performer do their thing. But for the most part, we were all kind of singing along with most everyone that came up, and it was a tremendous amount of fun. I hear that the other room was essentially the same kind of drill. So yeah, it was cool, man. I'm glad that you came out and enjoyed. All right, let's go back to the top here. Get the sucker fired back up. Hopefully the engine has recovered from the abuse we gave it the first time. I don't even know where to look for fuel gauges here. I wonder if I can just go through the regular menu. And I'll just set it back up to that, I guess. I don't even know. Okay, that'll work. Let's go ahead and get the propeller pulled through its cycle twice. There's once. It's funny, the click spot's dead center above the engine cowling, even if the blade is not actually there. I was trying to click on the blade. Doesn't work. Click spot's over there, regardless. So pull it twice through. Fuel selector gets set to reserve. Prop and mix go full forward. Throttle to about 10%. Magnetos go to right, then left, then both. Get battery, fuel pump, and primer. Do about a 5 count on the primer. 2, 3, 4, 5. Off and start. Okay. We started disengages. We'll reguard it. Fuel pump can come off. Battery and instruments. All the cooling flaps can be opened up. You'll switch fuel tank and go to main. Altimeter is indeed set to QFE, and then this kind of just spun up in a random direction, so let's set this back to 030 there. And then we'll go ahead and get the wings opened up. Okay. Back in locked position, and away we go. Alright, and I will, like I said, I'm the third performer, so I'm going to go through that sequence after the show is started, but while the first performer is going on, I will pretty much be starting up the airplane, and then while the second performer is going on, I will pretty much be taxiing out into my holding position here. Keep it idling right here at about 1,000. And right up here to the whole short line. Hey, 233 Fox says, this is a good idea. I should probably practice my routine. Yeah, if you'd seen the couple of attempts I made prior to the stream going live today, you would understand why it is a fantastic idea, especially since they had the good timing to update this aircraft yesterday, and they did make a bunch of changes to the flight model, which was very kind of them. Ordinarily, I would never begrudge somebody updating the aircraft, but when you make major changes to the flight model right the day before I'm the week before I'm about to do an air show in the thing. Man, that makes it an extra challenge. Alright, so flaps, canopy, and engine cooling, and let's go. And I wonder if the side skidding down the runway would be less pronounced if I didn't go to full power for takeoff. You know, we're not launching off a carrier. We don't really need full power. Probably do with about 40 on the manifold. Let's see how that gets us and see if it's a little bit easier to maintain center line as we get rolling. It does need a kick to the right when the tail comes up. There it is. And then the trick is not to overcorrect that kick. Well, okay, so it's not really any better. Not really any easier to handle. So I'll just do the takeoffs like I'm used to, because we're starting to run out of runway and we're not even up to 80 knots yet. Okay, well, we'll put it back up to where we had it. Let's go. Let's get this thing off the deck. Back online. 25 and 48. Be aiming just to the left of the 3 on the compass. Climbing her out at 120 to 2500. Now the catch is we do have to wait until we get cleared into the box on this one, so we might end up coming a little bit further out on this one depending on the timing. Last time we did this, we got cleared into the box pretty promptly, so it wasn't an issue. But we'll assume that we'll be cleared into the box after our takeoff. We climb it right out to 2500 at 120, pointed right at that little red square there. That's good. Pulling down right through this farm. Okay, not too bad on the alignment. .25 is kind of what we're aiming for here. Plane's going to accelerate up through 300 knots. We're just going to take it right down to 20 feet above the runway. And just a tiny little pull at the end. Good. Nice gentle climb. That highway comes just to the bottom of the wing root there, a little bit offline. That lake comes just off the left wing. Looking pretty good here. 500. Okay, let's pull it straight down through the vertical. Get a little extra pull here. Yeah, it tends to want. Yeah, I'm very near the treetops. So I got to give a little bit more forceful pull on those reverse half Cubans. Otherwise, we're going to face plant this thing right into the field. This will be our double aileron roll. Let's get ready to put a little bit of rudder in. We wound up right of center on the exit of these. So I'm going to put in just a little bit of left rudder with the snap here. A little bit of pop. Okay. Whoop. That's very sloppy. Oh, yeah, that was almost dangerous. Almost disastrous. That was not the thing to do. Try that again on the next attempt. See if we can clean that up a little bit better. That was almost real fun to watch. Okay, there's the red spot we're supposed to be aiming for. That's 2,500. Throttle comes out. Bring it right down through the vertical. Little extra pull, little extra pull. Power comes back in. Okay, pretty good on the alignment. This is our inverted pass, so let's get aligned. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was very, very sloppy, very sloppy. Yeah, no, that was not good at all. Not good at all. Well, all right. Let's just finish this routine out. But I think starting with this next run, I'm gonna just keep doing the same maneuver over and over again until I'm happy with it, and then we'll move on to the next one. Alignment's better on this one this time. Got a little too antsy on the pull. Didn't finish the loop at the bottom. Finished it at a 300 feet. Well, okay. That's okay. We did a little extra safe that time. I'll take it. Offline, I think. Yeah, there's that red mark, but I don't think we came into it straight. Now we can let it fall. Okay, there we are. I'm happy with the shake and tumble. Yeah, the spin and tumble, rather. So I'm going to practice that double aileron roll. No, the double aileron roll is the other way. Alright, so let's just practice the inverted low pass. Ah! this time it'll be the double aileron roll again. Let's practice the double aileron roll again. Good amount of pull. Once we get to about here, then we can let it go. Okay, there we are. And 25. We are doing these left-hand rolls. Let's do that same every time. Yeah, let's get out of that. That was not going to go. That was not going to end well. Let's try that again. Even though we'll be going the wrong way for it, let's try it again. There's our red spot. Let's pull straight down through it. Extra pull at first and then let it fall. Okay, alignment's good. So one thing is, I gotta get down to my 20 feet, basically right over the aiming blocks. And then a little pop to gain altitude before I start that maneuver. That's problem number one. And now we got just a little bit of gain. Now we can snap into it. Oh, crap. Oh, and I got the tanks on there still. I wonder if that's causing some of the extra. Yeah, that might have been part of why the plane was handling so sluggish. All right, well, back to the beginning. Why we practice? All right, levers down, switches, everything off. World map. Let's do midday. Start at ramp 19 as our departure, and let's go. All right, right now. That double aileron roll needs cleaning up. All right. Okay, so let's take it through the start sequence again. Why is that sun so low? Hold on, that time of day didn't take. Oh, that second crank is coming through. Yeah, that's better. All right, well, and then first of all, get rid of all the extra tanks. All right, fuel selector reserve. Drop and mix forward. Throttle to 10%. Magnetos. Battery fuel pump primer. No. Wanted. Battery, fuel pump. Okay, there we go. So about a 5 count. Hit the starter. Okay, there we go. Fuel pump. Rinse batteries. Guard that. Open up the flaps. The manifold at about 12. The wings unfolded. And locked. And then the fuel selector over onto main. Alright, directional gyro needs to be set to just a few degrees right of 3. And we'll set the altimeter to QFE. Right about there will do. Ideally, you'd let the engine warm up a little bit, but I don't think like I said, I don't think the engine model is that detailed that it matters. So away we go. Alright, every pass for right now, every pass is going to be the double aileron roll. Because that's obviously I need to obviously I need to clean that up before I even move on to anything else. Goal number 1, survive the first maneuver of the show. Really gonna get that rolled out and tamed. Alright, and then we're gonna climb it at 120. Up to 2,500. Ooh. I don't know if that came across the mic, but that's a nice little lightning strike nearby. Okay, 25. Power out. Right on our red square here. Pull it through. Okay. Once we got the nose up, we can let her fall a little bit. Yeah, stream may not stay stable, guys. We got a pretty good storm coming through where I sit at the moment in the real world. Alright, so this will be the double aileron roll. This will not be the first pass in the show will not be the double aileron roll. But we're going to practice it for now. Now, I didn't get the entry just right either. So a good maneuver starts with a good entry. Let's abort that and try that. Flip it. Pull it through. Okay, we're through the vertical, let it fall. Okay, alignment's good. Okay. Let's get it down to 20 feet, right at the blocks, with a little bit of a pop after that. Okay, there's our little pop. Okay, still over-rotated it just a touch. Nose better. Let's get it through the vertical, and then we can release, yeah, then we can put the power back in. Alright, again, we're just going to practice double aileron roll. Down to 20 at the aiming blocks, slight pop, and then the roll. I see what I'm doing. I see why I'm getting offline. I figured it out. I'm starting that counter elevator move too soon. Countering with that elevator too soon. Let's get back in the center. 2500. Let's get back in line with where we're supposed to be. Through the vertical, then let her fall, power back in. We're way offline here. Okay. So 20 feet, aiming blocks. Slight pop, aileron. Don't do the push until the... Yeah, see? That's what's happening. That's what's happening. I can't do that push until we're over. Because if I do that push or pull while we're at knife edge, I'm changing the line. So That's really where it is. That's how you steer the center line. You got to steer the center line while you're in knife edge. So that's what I got to do. Okay, there's our red box. Pull. Get her out of the vertical, add the power. Alignment's good. 50. Start the maneuver with good alignment, that'll help. I know, buddy. Very, very scary. I know. What's even scarier is these tree tops. Woo. Okay, a little bit of a pull. Now we turn. Ah, crap. Saw it. Saw it coming, couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, that's not how you want to do it. Yeah. Alright. Switches, levers down, magnetos, gear down. Main menu. Continue. I do think to a certain extent I'm just overthinking it. Alright, while the propeller's coming through its cycles, all that done. Alright, battery, fuel pump, primer. Oh, mix and prop go forward, throttle to 10. Did not kick over. Five seconds off, then starter. No, that's something. I screwed something up. Oh, magnetos would be helpful, I guess. Throttle and mix full forward. We got fuel pumps, mags on. Let's try that one more time. 5 seconds on the primer. Yeah, there we go. Alright, I think we're ready. Puppy, move. Can't sit in front of the rudder pedals. I need those. Okie doke. So let's just make sure. I mean, yes, I want to fix the alignment, and yes, I know what I'm doing wrong in the alignment now. However, I got to make sure that I've angled the plane up before I start that. Sure that we've angled the plane up before we start that double aileron roll. What time is it? Not quite 10. Alright, here we go. A little better on the rollout that time. And let's pitch to 120. Set 50 to 120. Once we get through the vertical, then we can let it fall. Where's our... Way off here. Yeah, I didn't put the down... I forgot to put the down trim in on that climb out. Okay, alright, well let's try the double aileron roll. Okay, up. Ah. I wonder if I can use a rudder to correct some of those issues. Okay, there's our red square. Just to the left of these farms. Okay, we're good. That's where we want to be. Alright, practice the double aileron roll again. Feet over the aiming blocks. A little bit of pup. I'm going to start this with bad alignment, and that's just going to make it all the more difficult. That was better. Still got a sideways in it about halfway through. Could have corrected with rudder, didn't. Let's see if I can do that again this time with the correction on the rudder. A red square, just to the left of the farm, just to the left of the farm. And 25. Okay. Nose up. Yeah. Yeah, that little bit of left rudder there kind of saved me that time. Just got to remember to neutralize it at the end so I don't over-rotate the maneuver again. Okay, 50 and 25. Speed's good, alignment's okay. So here's the thing, I gotta do this visually, right? 20 feet over the aiming blocks and then just cowling right to the horizon. That's just how it's gonna work. Okay, 20 feet. Cowling to the horizon, then start the maneuver. Left. Left. Okay, that's better, and then I just got to remember to neutralize the rudder at the end. Jativa Plays is here. How are you? Good to see you. We're doing a little air show practice. And, yeah, I'm starting to get better at it here. We just want to clean up this one maneuver and get the alignment just a little bit better. And there's our red square. Pull down through it. Oh, missed the alignment here. Yeah, Jativa, I don't really take requests, man. I've got something else I'm working on today. Alright. Okay, cowling. Left pop there. Oh. Ow. Ah. Crap. Saw that going bad, couldn't fix it. Yeah. Alright, well, try that again. Levers down, switches down, landing gear down. Oh, it's gonna be a fun one. JPC, are you still watching this, man? This is gonna be this is gonna be a fun one. Alright, time's good. Alright, well, at least we'll get the startup sequence down, Pat. We won't have any issues with the startup sequence. We'll know that one cold. Well, I guess what I need to do, though, I need to make double sure that I get these tanks, these extra tanks off. Because I know that screwed me up on one of them. Alright, there we go. And canopy can be open for now. I said open for now. There we go. Okie doke. Through the startup process one more time. I may just have to concede that I'm not going to get this routine as close to the ground as I want to get it. Because I'd really rather do it a little more safely than do it and not be able to finish it. So let's make that our goal for this run through. Alright, battery, fuel pump, and primer. Oh, nope. Not any of that. We need fuel first. We need fuel and electricity first. There we go. Now we go battery, fuel pump, and primer. Nope, still not even. Because we need mix and prop lever first and throttle up to 10%. Got a whole bunch of stuff to do on the left side of the plane before you do any of this. Now we go battery, fuel pump, and primer. Primer off after 5 seconds. Kick the engine. Okay, there we go. Close that. Now all the right side stuff can get done. There we go. Okay, so I'm starting to get the start sequence down at least. Alright, away we go again. You know, ideally you let it warm up a little bit, but engine hasn't been the issue. I've abused the heck out of this engine. It's the pilot that's the issue. Beautiful plane, though. But don't you guys love, if you've been watching since the beginning of tonight's stream, don't you guys love how I did 2 decent run-throughs of it? And ever since, I've been just crashing on every attempt. I think it may just be that I'm overthinking it. May just be that I'm overthinking it. Let's just do one solid run through. Not worrying about perfection, but let's just get one solid run through. One solid run through good enough, because that's what we have to do on Saturday, a good enough run. And there's that kick. And then we can just make sure we don't overcorrect it. Right around the crossing runway, we'll lift her off. Okay. Climb her out at 120. Bring her to 50 and 25 here. Climb her out at 120. Keep the heading. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think I set QFE. So now I gotta add 750. Instead of 25, I gotta go to 3250 here. Alright, pull her through the vertical. Then you can add power and let her fall. Oh yeah, we're... Forgot to add the down trim too. So this will just be our high-speed run. Yep, forgot to do the QFE. So now we just got to do 3250 here. Over-rotated it. Okay, pull her through. Get her through the vertical. Add the power. Let her fall. Fix the line. Let's just get the nose coming up before we do the roll maneuver. Now we can do that. Yep. Over-rotated it at the end, but it saved it from the ground at least. Alright, take her up to 3250. This is the inverted pass. Don't overcorrect pitch this time. Okay, through the vertical. Now let her fall. Power back in. 750. Okay, Push her away from where she needs to go. Won't overcorrect the pitch. Yeah, I'm not fixing the alignment very well at all. Okay. Just roll her out of there. That was bad. That was bad. Alright, let's get that vertical loop in this time. $32.50. I think our alignment's good at all. We'll have to figure that out. Get her through the vertical. Then add the power, let her fall. Oh, not bad, not bad. Set 50. And right at show center we pop. Go. Power out. Spot. Not bad. Come back. In the view. Let her fall. Let her fall. Power back in. Finish the maneuver at the end of the runway, but that's not bad. It's not ideal, but not bad. We gotta let that apex happen a little bit better. Set 50. $32.50. Let's cut it. Bring her through. Alright, now this is the spin and tumble. Okay, alignment's not terrible. 50 set. And remember, we're on the 3 side. We gotta come out on the 21 side here. At show center we pop. Let it come a little bit more past the vertical. Now we start to spin. I think that was our mistake last time. We started it too early and then we wound up too far on the 21 side. Okay, when she falls. Okay, where is she? Where is she? Fix the alignment. Now we can bring her out of it. Yeah, nice and easy. Okay, that's not too bad. We still need to do a little bit more pass vertical on that, I think. $32.50. Let's go. They're through. Bring her through. Now we can let her fall. Add the power. Alignment's good. 50 set. Alright, nice and easy. Pop it right at the center. Power out. $17. And brake. Let's keep it at 17 in the turn. Push it downwind. Yellow. Here. Okay, where's our little lake? There's our little lake. Turn it in a little bit short. And 80 knots is where we want to be. Square up the view. And the brakes as soon as we can. Get off on the taxiway before the crossing runway. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I can get through the routine if I don't overthink it. But it was not, it was a little bit sloppy. When I try too hard to make it perfect, that's when I start to get crazy. Now we can pull the flaps in. I also need to brace my rudder pedals. Rudder pedals was sliding around a little bit on that one. The thing does handle a ton better after the update on landings than it did before, though. Alright, let's do one more. One more just straight up run through. If I can get through one more run through and be happy-ish with it, then we're just gonna do it Saturday just like that, not overthinking it. I don't think I got the click spot there. Alright, one more complete run through. Ready for the right kick when the tail comes up, and then the left kick once it is up. Right at the crossing runway is right where we hit 100 knots. Still forgot to do QFE. Gosh. 32. A red spot. Down through it. Through the vertical. Let her fall, add power. We're way off here somewhere. Oh man. Way, way off. Yeah, I'm gonna call that an abort. Tell you what, I'm gonna need a. I'm gonna take a break. Need another break, and then we'll do one start to finish run through. So let's just. Put the power all the way back. End up put ourselves on a nice little left base here. And I'm aiming for that little lake. That's that little lake is my left base to final reference. We do it on speed. We're okay. We can drop gear and flaps anytime. Yeah, I will tell you, I'm way happier with the landing performance ever since the flight model update. Didn't quite get off by that taxiway this time, but that's great. Alright, yeah, I gotta take another stretch break here, guys. It's just a concentration's starting to go. And we'll start it over from the very beginning. Make sure I get all the steps in, because I don't want to miss that QFE. No, I don't want to forget to watch my alignment on the climb out. And these little things are what are going to throw this routine off. But we'll take a quick break. Give me a moment to stretch. Another beverage. Seems like the, knock on wood, seems like the storms in my area have passed through. So we'll do a quick status update on that. And then one final run through and then we'll call it a night. I'm feeling okay. Like I said, my big thing is if I try too hard to be perfect, that's when I'm going to lose my concentration and put this thing into the ground. So we won't worry about perfection. Let's just get it done. Sometimes getting it done is better than getting it done perfect. It's more important. We'll put it this way. Sometimes getting it done is more important than getting it perfect. Now, where's our trim? Do I have a vertical trim tab? Okay, so there's my aileron and rudder trim. Where's my vertical trim tab? Okay, that's here. So interestingly, I got to figure out what it starts at. Alright, well let's go through the shutdown. I'm going to reboot the plane because I do want to find out what that starts at. Because then I want to figure out what I need it set at to be comfortable. And I can just set it to that rather than guess at it. And again, for those of you playing along on the home game. Alright, anyway. Where's our shutdown? Fold the wings. Relock them. Close up all the flaps. Radio master can come off. Engine instruments can come off. Throttle can come all the way down. Mixer go to cut off. Magnetos. Oh, fuel selector I never did put into. Oh yeah, it was in mains. Okay, good. Fuel selector and then the battery. Okay. We will leave it right there. Take one more quick break out of the cockpit for a little stretch and some liquid recycling. Come back and we'll do one more start to finish run through. We'll see where we stand. Alright. Got more flying left to do for you, friends. Sit tight. We'll be right back. Alright, we are back. And we are practicing for this Saturday's 3rd annual Virtual USA Flying Club Airshow. Sponsored by the Virtual USA Flying Club. And again, it will be broadcast starting at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu Time, on the Jeffrey B channel. I'll give you the link to that in the chat here in just a moment. So yeah, http://twitch.tv/Jeffrey B. So that's where you're going to want to go on Saturday, 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu Time. I think it's something like 16 or 17, maybe as many as 20 performers in a full virtual air show being hosted on the VATSIM network. Jeffrey B has the broadcast, and as I said earlier, and I'll say it again for those of you joining late, he does an extremely good, he's the master of ceremonies. It's a very well done, extremely well produced broadcast, just like you would expect if you've ever sat and watched TV coverage of like the Dayton Air Show, or even some of the airshow.com coverage of the air show tour that they do every summer. This is going to be every bit as well produced as any of those. A virtual air show happening on the VATSIM network. Jeffrey B will be our master of ceremonies and our announcer and our commentator, and he will be giving you performer bios. He'll be giving you details on the maneuvers they're going to be performing. He's going to be giving you details on the aircraft, just as an air show performer or air show commentator would. He does an amazing job. This will be the 3rd year putting this together, and it just gets better and better every time. So I expect Saturday to be nothing but a stellar production. And so you want to check that out. Jeffrey B on the Twitch channel this Saturday, 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu Time. My stream is going to be up and running at that very same time. I am the 3rd performer in that air show. And so I will be streaming my performance, which you're going to see one or two more practice runs right now. But you'll see that performance from the in-cockpit vantage point on my stream, but you'll see his Jeffrey B's broadcast will have the spectator view. So really, if you want to watch the show, you should watch his. But if you would want to see, my vantage point of my performance, which would be the 3rd performance of the day, I'll be on just for that. So it'll be a very short stream on Saturday on my channel, but then we'll send you the raid over to Jeffrey B's broadcast, as he'll have the entire show. It's probably about a 3 to 3.5 hour show that he'll be broadcasting the entirety of for you on his live stream. Okay, so we want the canopy open. I think we do have one switch down here. Okay, no, that's all good. All right, so let's see. So it does default to neutral position there, 0 on the trim tab. So we'll see where it ends up as I do this first maneuver, and we'll just set it to that. You're set up for the fly-in Thursday? Yeah, I won't be able to join on Thursday for the fly-in. I will just I'll spawn in here on Saturday. But yeah, the club is doing a fly-in to Galesburg, Illinois on Thursday night, and then Saturday afternoon is the actual air show. And a virtual air show before I head out to Oshkosh for a real-world air show. Very cool, Heisenberg. Yeah, they do a stellar. I mean, that whole event up in Oshkosh is just amazing. Of course, on Sunday, speaking of, on Sunday is the VATSIM version of EAA AirVenture, aka VATVenture. So I'll be streaming for you 2 days in a row this weekend. Saturday afternoon, we'll be doing our performance here for the Virtual USA Flying Club Air Show, and then Sunday we'll be doing our flight into VATVenture. We'll be coming in from the north in the Comanche this time. We try to do a little bit different spin on it. Every time I've done that event, I try to come in from a different direction. Last year we did fly from Galesburg to Oshkosh in this very Corsair, and we did the Warbird approach, or the Warbird arrival rather. But this time on Sunday, we're going to be coming in from the north. So 2 weekend afternoon streams for you this weekend on the Slant Alpha channel. Again, the full show schedule's down underneath the About tab or over on our Discord server, which is linked on the lower right-hand side. But yeah, that'll be coming up on Sunday. Heisenberg says, nice. Oh, I also fly on Pilot Edge for SimVenture. Yeah, well, they do. Pilot Edge does an outstanding production of their EAA AirVenture replica. And of course, they have a lot of the controllers that work the event in the real world will be on virtually on Pilot Edge for that. They use that kind of as a practice, and they get pretty good attendance for that thing. They don't get quite as good attendance on the VATSIM one, but it normally is still a very, very well done. If you come in kind of the peak of traffic, you still get that full ambiance of the massive cluster that moving into Oshkosh that you get in the real world, at least for a shorter duration. And the VATSIM controllers also do a very nice job of replicating the feel and the ambiance and the chaos of that event, complete with the instructing you to do the wing rock and everything, and then you either follow the railroad or you follow that road out to the east in order to make your arrival into the airport. So they do a nice job, but yeah, I know SimVenture on Pilot Edge gets a little bit more well attended. Oh, and Heisenberg says this will be my third one, and I've even met some of the controllers out at Oshkosh. Yeah, very, very cool, man. Very cool. All right, let's get this up and running, and let's do one more run through for me to feel comfortable with this. Let's get the battery switch on. I got to make sure we get all of the drop tanks off, and the gun sights off, and then the wheel chocks on. So that's step number one. Got to make sure we do that, and I gotta just totally discipline myself to just do this thing step by step, because if I try to do it by memory, I am going to forget something. Alright, and the canopy is open. Alright, well, let's just take it step by step. We'll crank the propeller twice around. Okay, that's once. Here comes twice. Okay, the fuel selector can go to reserve, which is 2 forward. Prop and mix can go full forward. Throttle can go to 10%. Magnetos do both. Then we get battery, fuel pump, and primer. And we'll open up the starter. We'll let the primer run for about 5 seconds. Then we engage the starter. Should kick over right away. Okay, we can cover the starter. Switch to the main fuel tank, fuel pump off, engine instruments, and master, radio master. Here's the part I need to make absolutely sure I don't forget. Number 1, directional gyro, just slightly right of 3. And I absolutely need to make sure that before I lift off, I set this down to QFE. Because that's going to be my reference for getting this plane down to 20 feet on these passes. And if I don't set this right, I'm going to be guessing it's going to be between 700 and 800, and who knows what the pressure setting is going to be that day. You know, I just want this to read 0 when I'm at 0 at AGL. So I'm just going to set it to QFE. And that way the references are the same every time. 2500, that's when I power out, flip over. 2500, you know, no fiddling around with, oh, the pressure's this, the pressure's that. It's going to be a different altitude, or, you know, different altitude reading that day, or whatever. It's going to read 0 when I'm at 0. It's going to read 2500 when I'm 2500 feet above that. So that's the step I got to make extra sure. Sim Caesar is here with the resub. 48 months, that's 4 years officially. Sim Caesar, you've been a subscriber of this channel 4 out of the 7 years it's existed. That is insane. Thank you so kindly for the continued support, my friend. We truly do appreciate it. Alright, so did I get all that stuff done? I did, except one crucial thing. We gotta spread our wings before we can fly. Everything else, oh, and I got the Engine cooling flaps open too. Yeah, again, I gotta really make sure I go through this every single thing, every single step. Fuel selector. Did I get the fuel selector over to main? I'm pretty sure I did, yes. Instruments, radio, master, cooling flaps, wings, and then relock those. I gotta make sure I relock those wings. Directional gyro and QFE. Okay, I think I've got it. Let's do this one more time. Oh, I forgot to get something to brace my pedals with. Oh well. Do with that. Alright, friends, away we go. And again, just as the Airshow is starting its first performance, you know, I'll be going through that startup sequence. As the Airshow's second performance is underway, we'll be taxiing out. And then this bird here will be the third performance of the day. Beautiful FG-1D Corsair Blackbird simulations, and the custom livery done for us by our very good friend Downwardson. Now here's the... I'm gonna have to glue these pedals to the ground or something. My wife will not be a fan of that, but we will bolt them. I don't know.
The little rascal has...
Alrighty. I'm a frequent victim of the sliding rudder pedals also, says SimCaesar. Yeah, I had a apparatus that I was using as a brace. Well, that apparatus is now what my second monitor is sitting on. I moved things around in the room here, and now I don't have a brace for the rudder pedals. And I was like, it's not that big a deal. I very rarely need it. Well, every time I say that, I prove myself wrong. Okay, 3 things to do here at the whole short line. 1, 2 is flaps. 3 is the cowls. Come on. There we go. Alright, and we note that it is indeed neutral trim. And I'm going to put about 5 seconds worth of down trim in it. We'll see where it lands, and then that'll just be the reference for our trim setting when we do this on Saturday. Alright. Takeoff coming at you. Ready for the kick to the right, and then the kick back to the left as the tail comes up. There's the 1. There's the 2. Okay, not too bad. Not overcorrect. Focus. Focus. Right about the crossing runway is where we hit 100 knots. And that's where we'll take her off. Gear can come up. Flaps can come up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 seconds of down trim. Make sure we're still on that 030 heading. Or, I'm sorry, the 210 heading. And let's make sure we're climbing it out at 120 knots. And when I get a chance, look to see where that trim tab wound up. Wow. 2.5 nose down. Okay. Noted. Okay, and here we come up on 25. Power can come out. Flip her over. Pull her through. Let's get her through the vertical, and then we can let her fall as the power comes back in. Off the line, let's get over there to the right. Set 50 and 25. Speed's coming up through 300, right where we want it. A pretty sloppy alignment, but we'll get it fixed and we'll get right down to 20 feet before we come up on the other side. Okay, so sloppy entry, still got the job done. Nice high speed, low pass. Okay, let's make sure we're right on that 030, nice and well aligned. Take her to 2500, right where the lake goes below us and the clover leaf. Okay, power down. Inverter. Pull her through. Okay, get her through the vertical, and then we can let her fall. We need to be just to the right of that tower. There we are, not too bad. Set 50 on the power. Okay, alignment's good. So let's come in on a good alignment, we'll get the nose up, and then we'll start the roll. Let's hit 20 feet right at the aiming blocks. Okay, good, nose up. Right at the end. Okay, didn't over-rotate at that time. Not too bad. Little sloppy. Didn't keep the alignment right down the center line, but not too bad. I'll take it. Okay, we'll take it up to foreign communication, Mr. 26.2. Yeah, this pass will look more like that. This pass I'm going to take a little further out because I need it and I need the alignment good before I make the entry. So I'm going to take this one up to 3. We're going to cheat it a little bit. Take it up to 3. Now power out. Now we'll invert it. There's that red spot we can aim for. Keep it coming right through the center of that. Farm number 1. Where's our alignment? Okay, yeah, we're a little off. Not too bad. Let's get the alignment fixed earlier than later. Make sure we're coming right down the center here. This is the one where we're going to just flip it. Okay, push it away from where we need to go. Okay, we're a little offline here. That's okay. Nice and low where we want to be. This isn't bad, this isn't bad, this isn't bad. Okay, a little bit of a pop, roll it out. Okay, good. Alright, that wasn't terrible. Would have liked to have gotten the pitch control a little bit better, but it wasn't terrible. Alright, 2500. Power out, flip her around. Okay, bring her straight through the vertical. Power out until we get through the vertical. And now, yeah, now we can let her fall a little bit. There we are, just to the right of that tower. That's where we want to be. Good alignment's good, 57 the power. Come right down over the pavement 20 feet, all the way to show center. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to start this a little bit before the cross because we always end up finishing this late. So let's start it early. So we'll start it right at the aiming blocks. And now we'll flatten it, pull the power, spot it. Okay, not bad. This is better. Let's make sure we pull it through. But let's finish it at the show center. There we go. Nice, that was much better. Power can come back in now. Still kind of pansied out on the exit there, but it's okay. Done more important than perfect in this instance. Alright. This is what we're going to call the spin and tumble. Alright, 25, power out. There's our red spot. We'll pull the nose right through it. Farm number 1, farm number 2. Through the vertical, let her fall, power back in. Farm number 3. Get back over on the center. 50 set. And on this one, we got to come a little bit past the vertical. A little bit past the vertical. Let's get right down to the 20. Right at the aiming blocks. Okay, pop. A little past the vertical. Now let's go. At this point, this is easy. This is just a power on stall. When she falls, we can cut the power, and we just need to figure out which direction we're pointed. That's all. See the airport. We got to come out on the 21 side. Okay, so that was sloppier. I think I went too far past the vertical that time. I've done that way, way better. I went too far past the vertical. I got to do that right on the vertical, I think. It's okay. Final pass is not too bad. The final pass is a little easier. Alright, lake, cloverleaf. 2,500. Power out. Flip her over. One final time. Alright, pull her through. Get her through the vertical, then we can let her fall. There we go. Power's going to come back in. I think we need to move to the right. Yep, I saw the tower. 50 set. Alright, let's take her right down the center, 20 feet. And then right at show center, we'll pop up to 1,000, start our carrier brake. I pansied out, I'm too high. That's okay. It'll still look okay. Okay, out to 1,000, and then brake. Power remains out from here. There's 3, there's our downwind. Keep it right at 1,000. There's our lake. Drop gear. $700 over the lake. A little bit of power back in. Flaps coming out. Square up the view. .80 knots. Left turn is slightly short. We're okay though. And I was going to say, and just aggressive brakes to correct the alignment before she starts to want to turn on us. We can get off by the first taxiway, that's our goal. Nice. Alright. A couple of little things bothered me about it, but overall, I'm happy. If I can do that performance on Saturday, I'll be satisfied. I won't be happy, but I'll be satisfied. If I can clean up a couple of little things, then I'll be happy. Yeah, we kept that 2.5 down. Right? Yep. Yeah, so on that run through, everything went okay, except for the spin and tumble. Spin and tumble was really sloppy. I wound up just way off where I wanted to be. But I think I tried to overcompensate by going too far past the vertical, and that was where I kind of just wound up way off. I think I am gonna call it a night here, guys. I think I can make that one correction. Oh, did I show you? Did I already show you? Yeah, the landing characteristics on this plane. So what happened was Blackbird released an update to this plane literally yesterday, and the handling characteristics are very, very different. Which is why I wound up having to kind of relearn this routine and the control forces that I needed to put in, especially on the elevator. I really undercooked the elevator on the first time and wound up face planting it into the ground prior to the stream going live. And then we wound up face planting it for you a couple times tonight during the stream as well. But yeah, they really did improve the handling characteristics on touchdown, at least. Still very, very squirrely on takeoff, but the performance on touchdown is a lot more predictable. So, yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy, and we're just going to go ahead and call it a night. Good fix and stop it in at the very end. So, yeah, man. Very cool. All right, well, here she is, the beautiful bird. And again, thanks to Downwind Sim. Oh yeah, if you want to watch the stream back, there's a couple of good face plants. A couple of good face plants in there tonight. If you want to watch the stream back, it's all there for you. But again, thanks to Downwind Sim for the custom livery for this aircraft. This, the custom livery, in fact, was done... Yeah, right. Was done because I got featured in the intro video of last year's Flight Sim Expo out at Las Vegas, and so that this was the plane that they had me fly with the custom livery. So that was kind of fun. But then, of course, this was also the livery that we wound up using for the Virtual USA Flying Club Airshow last year. And Jeffrey has a CSL for an X-plane that is almost this very same livery. So, yep, very cool. All right, well, I'm happy, and hopefully I can replicate that performance for you on Saturday when we do it for a live studio audience. Again, it's the Virtual USA Flying Club 3rd Annual Air Show, twitch.tv/JeffreyB. I'll put it into the chat one more time for you. Hopefully I spelled that right. Yeah, there you go. So that's where you want to go Saturday at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 1700 Zulu time. This stream will be starting at that same time. I am the third performer in the lineup for the third annual Virtual USA Flying Club Airshow. Jeffrey B. will have the primary broadcast, and he will do up a very, very professional production with him as the master of ceremonies. He'll be giving you information on each performer and their bio. He'll be giving you information on the aircraft that they're flying. He'll be giving you commentary on the maneuvers that they're flying. So it'll be very, very well done production. Lots of multiple camera angles. Very, very well done production. If the last 2 years are any indicator, it's getting better and better every time they do it. So we'll see. I'm sure will be a very nicely produced show on Saturday. So that's the stream that you want to go to for that. Saturday on this live stream, I will be firing up to get the stream started right at the same time as the primary broadcast. During the first performer, I'll be going through the startup sequence. During the second performer, I'll be taxiing out, and then I will be the third performance. And then you can watch me taxi back in and shut down. But when we close up the show, we're going to just send the raid back over to Jeffrey so you can watch the rest of the broadcast. And really, I hope that you watch his broadcast primarily. If you want to keep mine on the side, that's fine too. All right, let me go ahead and get through the shutdown then, and then we'll figure out who we're sending the raid over to tonight. It looks like Melvin's flying. All right, we'll get you the raid over to Melvin here in just a few moments. Let's get back into the cockpit and get the plane shut down properly. So, very first things first, while we still got power, let's get the wings folded. You want to do that while you've got power to push those hydraulics. Okay, and then we can lock those back into place. And then same thing with the cooling flaps. You want to close those up while you've got power to do so. We can get the radio master and engine instruments off. You want to get all the avionics off before you shut any power down, so that you're not spiking those instruments with power. Alright, throttle comes all the way down. Mix can come to cutoff. Magnetos can come off. Fuel selector can come off. And then the battery can come off, and that will it'll close up the cockpit too when we do that. So we are done. Alright. Assume we'll have hopped out of the aircraft before that happens. Well, since I've told you, yeah, we've got the broadcast of the airshow coming up on Saturday. Don't forget, Sunday is the VAT Venture, VATSIM version of EAA Air Venture. So that is going to be 1700 is going to be the broadcast on Saturday, and then 1800 Zulu, 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Sunday. So two weekend afternoon shows back-to-back for you, Saturday and Sunday. So you will not see me. The normal show schedule, by the way, if you're new to the channel, normal show schedule is Tuesday nights and Friday nights at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. But I'll be off on Friday night because we're going to be broadcasting you Saturday at 1 p.m., Sunday at 2 p.m. Saturday at 1 p.m. is the air show. Saturday at 2 p.m., Sunday at 2 p.m. rather, is going to be the trip up to Oshkosh on the VATSIM network. The VATSIM Chicago AirTCC putting on the VATSIM version of EAA Air Venture, which we call VAT Venture, and they do a fantastic job. So Pilot Edge is slightly better attended, but the VATSIM controllers do a very, very wonderful job of replicating the ambience of that event as well. So that'll be Sunday, and then the full show schedule underneath the About tab or over on our Discord server if you want to check that out and see when we're getting back on our normal schedule, which will be on that Tuesday afterward on the 15th. It's a week from tonight we get back on our normal rotation. Well, no, next week we're off our normal rotation as well, Tuesday and Thursday next week. Okay, yeah, so anyway, check out that show schedule under the About tab because it tells you not only what days we're going to be on, but what we're going to be up to. And it's over on our Discord server as well. Discord community is a great place, by the way. If you are brand new to the VATSIM network, we weren't on VATSIM tonight, but we normally are. And if you ever wanted to get some tips and tricks on how to join VATSIM, what to say to controllers, how to put routes together, how to read sectionals, how to choose a call sign, how to fill out your flight plan, go over to our YouTube channel. There's a playlist there called VATSIM Tutorials. The YouTube link's on the lower left-hand side of your screen. And the playlist over there has got some good information for you. If you have any questions about that stuff, you can leave them in the comments or Once again, find us on our Discord server. And then flashing across the bottom of the screen is the ad for Flight Sim Expo 2026. Yes, I know we're freshly back from 2025, but the 2026 date and location has been announced. It's the St. Paul River Center, June 12, 13, and 14 of 2026, and FlightSimExpo.com will have more information on that for you. All right, that'll wrap it up, guys. Like I said, Melvin Leroy's still flying. Let's go ahead and send the raid over to him. Tell him that Slant Alpha sends his love, as always. And then, guys, between now and Saturday, I hope they have the great rest of your week and safe and happy travels and in all of your adventures between now and then. All right? Sound good? We'll see you Saturday, friends. Take care. Good night.